Hello, everyone. So, as you know, we have already studied about Unit 1 of Geotechnical Engineering. Under the Unit 1, we have talked about many topics like preview of geotechnical field problems in civil engineering, soil formation, transportation of soil composition, weight volume relationship under the soil as a three-phase system, clay minerals, soil structure, consistency of soil, particle size analysis, and soil classification system. So today we shall study about the Unit 2. See, Unit 2 consists of two parts. The first one is the permeability, and second is the seepage. So we shall begin permeability. So before permeability, I would like to talk about some definition, some important parameters. That is the total stress, neutral stress, and effective stress. How we can define? What does it mean? See, two things are there. Self-weight of soil and a structural load on the soil. What does it mean? Suppose you are going to construct any footing or foundation at 2 feet depth. Okay. So what is going to happen? Below the base of the footing, if soil is fully saturated, right? So what loads are going to work on the soil? Which loads the soil is going to experience? Definitely above the base of the footing, the self weight of the soil, the soil will also be there. The self weight of the soil is also going to create the weight at the base of the footing, and the structural load on the soil. That means the load on the footing coming from the structure is also going to work on the soil. So these two types of loads will be there. So we are going to consider here stresses developed due to saturated soil. So with respect to saturated soil, we are going to define these three parameters: total, neutral, and effective stress. So how we can define total stress? It is either due to the self weight of the soil, or due to the external applied forces, or due to the both. At any point inside the soil mass is resisted by the soil grains and also by the water pressure in the pores. What does it mean? As I told you, that whenever you are going to construct the footing at 2 feet depth, so at depth, right? At that depth, or we can say below the base of the footing, whatever the soil is there, that soil is going to experience two types of load: the self weight of the soil and the structural load, right? These two loads are going to be experienced by the soil below the base of the footing, right? So that is the meaning of this line. So what is going to happen when the soil is fully saturated? Definitely the load, these two loads are going to be taken by the solid particles of the soil, as well as the water which is available in the voids of the solid grains. So these two things are going to take the load of the structure, which is going to take the load of the self weight of the soil, as well as the structure load is called as total stresses. Now we shall see what does it mean by what do you mean by neutral stress, which is also called as pore water pressure. So whenever the load is going to be applied at certain depth, what is going to happen? See, these are the solid particles. In the voids, water is there. The voids are filled with the water. So once load is going to applied from the top, in that case, this water will also create pressure in different directions. Okay. So suppose you want to know what is the stress due to the pore water at depth Z. So in that case, so we can calculate pore water pressure at depth Z is equal to, at depth Z is equal to, it will be multiplied by density of water. So density of water into Z is the pore water pressure at that depth. So next definition is the effective stress. So what is going to happen here? It is the difference between the total stress. As you know, the total stress is nothing but the stress which is going to be experienced, which is going to be carried out by the solid particles as well as the pore water, right? So both the stresses, if you are going to add together, it is called a total stress. And once you deduct the neutral stress from the total stress, we shall get the effective stress. That means what is going to happen? Suppose the water which is available inside the voids is going to release, right? Once it is going to release, definitely all the loads will come on the solid particles, right? So in that case, we can call it as a effective stress. So effective stress is the total stress minus pore water pressures. Suppose you want to find out the relationship in between these three parameters, right? Total stress, neutral stress, and effective stress. And suppose soil is fully saturated up to the ground level. So saturated this total stress at depth Z, we can find out by multiplying the saturated density with that depth, right? And pore water pressure, as you know, the density of water into height, Z. So effective stress, we can write total stress minus pore water pressures. So in place of total stress, we can put these values, and the pore water pressure will be the density of water into height, Z. So gamma saturated minus gamma W into Z. So gamma saturated minus gamma W is called as submerged density. So what relation we are going to find out ultimately? Effective stress is equal to submerged density into height. This will be the relationship. Now, there is one terminology, geostatic stress. This is also asked in your examination for the definition. What it says that when the ground surface is horizontal and the nature of soil does not vary significantly in the horizontal direction. Nature of soil means the properties of soil does not, suppose it is not varying. So in that case, how we can find out the geostatic state? The situation exists frequently in the case of sedimentary deposits. You can see coal is a sedimentary deposit. So sometimes in the coal mining area, you can see that above the coal, sandstone layer is there. Then sometimes slate layer is also there. Below that, coal layer is there, right? So these layers may vary. So these layers are called as sedimentary deposits. And definitely, suppose above the coal layers, sand layer is there. So coal layer is going to experience the geostatic stress. Geostatic stress means the static stress which is going to be caused by the layers which is available above the coal layers. So above the coal layers, as you know, sandstone layer is there. So whatever the stresses are going to be felt or going to be experienced by the coal bed layer due to the sand layer which is available above that is called as geostatic stress, right? Due to the self weight of the soil. Now we are going to talk about the permeability of soil. How we can define the permeability? It is the property of a porous materials which permits the passage or seepage of water or any other fluids through the interconnecting voids. This is the definition of the permeability. A materials having continuous void is permeable, right? Gravel is highly permeable, whereas a steep clay is the least permeable. Because gravels have high voids, the size of the voids will be more, and here, in case of clay, the size of the voids will be less. Okay, so it will be highly permeable. Now we can see what do you mean by laminar flow and turbulent flow. In laminar flow, each fluid particle travels along a definite path which never crosses the path of any other particle. So what happens? The fluid particles, you can see the fluid particles travels in a definite path. It is not going to fluctuate. It is not going to change its path. Okay, so it never crosses the path of the other water particles. So in that case, we can say it as the laminar flow. But in case of turbulent flow, we can see the paths are irregular and twisting. You can see the figure, the paths are irregular. So the one water particles may crosses the path of the other water particle, right? So that's why irregular and twisting, crossing and recrossing at random. So this is called as turbulent flow. So in soil mechanics, normally flow is laminar. So now we shall talk about the Darcy law. Darcy has given one relationship about the flow of water through the soil media. What he has said, the percolation of water through soil was first studied by the H. Darcy. How the water percolates through the soil media, right? The first study was carried out by the Darcy, and what he says that the velocity is proportional to the hydraulic gradient. Okay, so V is proportional to hydraulic gradient and V is equal to Ki. So we can see K is the Darcy coefficient of permeability, V is the velocity of flow, and I is called as hydraulic gradient, that is H by L. You can see here, this is the soil sample, and this is the head of water. In this side is H1, and in the right hand side, you can see the height of the water level is S2. So what is the difference in water? Difference in pressure head, right? So H1 minus S2, and this is the length. So whatever the pressure difference is there, and that is H1 minus S2 divided by L is called as hydraulic gradient. And here, capital A is nothing but it is the cross-section area of the soil sample. Okay, length of the soil sample, capital L, and A is the cross-section area of the sample. So as you know, V is equal to Ki. So what will be the discharge? Discharge, how we can calculate? V into A is called as discharge, and V is already Ki. So Q is equal to Kia. Discharge we can calculate. This discharge, right, is equal to Kia. And the V, the velocity of water, which is flowing through the soil media, is called as overall velocity or discharge velocity or Darcysian velocity or superficial velocity. That means the velocity of water flowing through the soil media. Suppose you want to know the velocity of water flowing through the voids only, right? So that velocity we consider it as a seepage velocity. So seepage velocity, that means the velocity through the voids only. So how we can correlate the seepage velocity with the discharge velocity or the overall velocity? So here you can see it is written that as the flow is continuous, Q must be the same throughout the system. So discharge is equal to AV. A is the cross-section area of the soil sample. V is the velocity of water flowing through the soil media. And here the cross-section area of the void we are considering only, and seepage velocity. So the flow is continuous or the flow is steady, then we can consider both as equal value. So AV is equal to AV into VS. So VS we can write at V into A by AV. But we know that the porosity is equal to, this definition also we know, volume of void by total volume. So volume of voids we can write as the cross-section area of the voids into length of the sample divided by cross-section area of the sample into length of the sample. So in place of the total volume. So this can also be written like this way. So what we can do further, 1 by n, definitely it will be A by AB. So if you are going to substitute these values A by AB in place of in place of A by AB 1 by n, then what will happen? Vs is equal to V into 1 by n. So Vs we can write V by n. But also we know n is equal to E by 1 plus C. This also we know. Volume of void by total volume, right? So E by 1. This we have already discussed in the unit 1, soil as a three-phase system. So this further we can write Vs is equal to V by n, 1 plus E by E into B. So what we can say? Suppose you are going to assume E is equal to 2.5, for example. So 1.5 by E into V. So definitely we can say seepage velocity is equal to seepage velocity will be higher than the discharge velocity. We can say it. Next point we can see here, seepage velocity is equal to V by N and V is equal to Ki. So K by N is called as coefficient of percolation, right? So sometimes this is also asked, what is coefficient of percolation? So validity of Darcy law. Under what circumstances Darcy law is valid? So Darcy law is valid. That means V is equal to Ki. V is equal to Ki. So V is Ki is the Darcy law. V is proportional to Ki. V is proportional to hydraulic gradient is the Darcy law. So when it is possible, when it is valid, when it for the laminar flow, it is also Darcy law also applies in silt, medium sand, and also for the steady state flow through the clays. Darcy law is also valid if the Reynolds number is less or equal to 1. See, dA is nothing but diameter of the average particle. V is the velocity of flow, and rho W is the density of water. Eta is equal to viscosity of water, and G the acceleration due to gravity. So this is all about your today topic. So thank you very much.